Hello there and welcome. In this video I got you 10 tips and tricks for the Lunar Coven and Monster Train 2. We're going to talk about mechanics, build ideas, and everything you need to know to make these guys work. So this is sort of an expanded tutorial beginner's guide for these guys. I do plan to make a second video which features the advanced strategies that you can use with these guys to bust up higher Covenant levels, just as a heads up. So, number one, let's talk moon cycles. This is the main mechanic of these guys, and we're utilizing that by just letting time pass in its basics. The moon is either full or new moon, and we have mechanics that let the moon phase. Certain spells just shift the moon phase ahead, and that's about it. We have mechanics that either let units grow or change the impact of our spells depending on the moon phase. Some of them get stronger, some of them get just a variant added to them. All in all, moon phases dictate the whole build of your Lunar Coven run. Always. You will not get around that, and the most important thing is that you really need to nail yourself down on one side or another, because hanging in between is usually not the best idea. More about that later in the build section. Number two, we got a huge synergy with spell power. Not only do we produce conduit on so many ends, no other faction is so easily able to produce that much conduit. And the other point is that we also have spells that are attuned, which means we get 5 times the amount of magic power. And it doesn't stop there. We also have units that feature the Mageblade trait. We have gear that has Mageblade, which directly transforms magic power into combat power. Altogether, this faction goes nuts with everything that scales with spell power, because we just thrive on so many ends on that. This is very useful and should be utilized in all builds that you're running. Number three, the interesting thing about the Lunar Coven is that they have internal anti-synergies. It is very simple. If you have a unit that is stronger during the new moon phase and you have a unit that is stronger during the full moon phase, you have already your first antagonistic interaction. It is easy as that. So this means with this faction it is more important than with any other faction that I've been playing before, that you stick to your side of the plan and don't get lured to accidentally picking something else up. You do have some freedoms in shifting back and forth a little bit, especially with the spells. It is easy to just cast a spell during a full moon and then phase with another creature effect or another spell a little bit forward to empower your new moon units, or vice versa. There are options, but generally speaking, new moon is creature-centric, full moon is spell-centric. This is the easiest way to coordinate your strategies that I've found out so far. Number four, the good thing about all this, the Lunar Coven comes off as one of the most versatile factions that I know. They are really good combo partners for basically everybody, because their toolkit contains pretty much something for everybody. We have healing, we have damage, we have unit movement, we have some sick debuffs. Seriously, Dazed is amazing. We have damage tools that are nothing to be sniffed away. We have really powerful units that can be powered up excellently. The Lunar Coven features the typical jack of all trades and master of nothing scenario. It is really important to nail yourself down, like I said before, towards a certain strategy, or you have a very high risk of running thin in the long run. This is the downside of the versatility here. So, that all being said, let's talk about a couple of enhancer ideas for your cards in number 5. Your spells are, in every run that I've been playing so far, very, very important. Therefore, low costs are something that you really enjoy in any scenario. Obviously, if you get the capability to draw more cards by casting spells, spell chain, stuff like that is very interesting. But obviously, most spells on our end just enjoy flat out good old spell power. It might be that we have lots of conduit, but nothing is wrong with spell power on your spells on themselves and conduit. Why is that important? Because you are less creature dependent. I mean, full moon builds do have even more usage for that, but you get the idea. Generally, with this faction, though, how to put it, you are really interested in making your spells cheap and versatile and reliable. Holdover and Permafrost are also extremely valuable because you got a couple of spells that can really be easily lined up to some sick combos, but you need to have the spell reliably available. Cosmic Bolt, for example, comes to mind, which is a very, very powerful nuke, which you can use to just hold it back. Since we can apply spell weakness and rack up conduit, you can generate some really, really big bursts of power, powerful bursts of damage with that. Number 6, unit enhancers. Our units are mostly brittle. The silent units come with a couple of HP. There's a few of them that actually can really muster some defensive qualities. Silent Sentinel here, for example, or the Shade Guard, as you see, 40 HP. But if you're not playing silent, your units are very, very fragile. Therefore, HP upgrades are always interesting, also for the New Moon guys, because honestly, we like to be not overrun with our faction because we build up our buffs. That is always one sign that you want to not lose too many units too quickly. The other thing that I realized, incant is also extremely valuable if you can get any incant effects on your unit upgrades. This is pretty synergistic because we cast a lot of spells naturally. Mageblade is also, if you can get it, a real godsend. Not available via unit enhancements, but via equipment. But I want to note it because it's just so darned good. Also, I realized 1 or 2 frontliners with Endless have made my runs much more resilient, because sometimes somebody might die in certain situations, and just having the ability to resummon your frontliner can be extremely nice as well. Now, let's talk about a couple of build ideas. Number 7, a New Moon build. So New Moon shines with creature-centric combat and can be lined up with the Banished or the Hellhorned clan quite easily. You just utilize the Nightingales, which turn into super stupidly hard-hitting creatures. Just give them a little bit more attack. There's so many ways, and hold them in New Moon, and you will see that they can really, really draw some big damage numbers. Get yourself some Eclipse Chambers to keep the New Moon eternally active, so you're no longer bound in your spell casting, and apply Shade Guard for the front line, and you already pretty much have the basic centrics down. You can now use Banished for Valor and Armor tanking, which will work excellently. Hellhorned can apply armor tanking as well, or add in whatever splice you find appealing to you. The fun part is that the New Moon creature combo is so strong that you need just a little bit of spicing from the neighboring clan to get your low difficulty runs into an easy victory. Number 8, let's talk about a full moon build. You know, new moon, full moon. We got to talk about that, right? So here we have a much more spell power centric approach, and I like to rack up that either with the Pyreborn, because they are just very good with spell casting, or the Stygian, because same reasons. In that scenario, we have not that much frontline on our own, so you might want to get something in there, and besides that, it's very, very straightforward. Get yourself those spells that are extremely more potent in full moon. Creature-wise, you are a little more locked down in your selection, because the game's balancing's idea is that the Silent, the New Moon faction, are the fighters, and the other guys are the Selene, they are the spellcasters. Therefore, your whole front line does not really work with the Lunar Coven units in that scenario. You're going to utilize your spells and the buffing ideas behind that. So you can use either Pyreborn or Stygian frontliners, pull it together to your own liking. I have a hard time nailing it down more precisely because it is very much dependent on which faction combination you play, how you rack it up. But the basic idea is very simple. Use Full Moon to rack up lots of conduit and use Full Moon powered spells to just blast away the enemy. And there's a couple of units that just give you a few advantages during that. Where's the Selene Acolyte? This is really as good as it gets. They get an AoE attack, don't underestimate them, make them quick, for example, but yeah, you are mostly thriving on spells and utility in this variant. Number 9, a tank build. So since we are featuring lots of spell power, and we got spells that heal units, we got a hero that comes with a basic spell that heals units. I mean, just apply some spell power and Witchweave goes places. And therefore, we can just rack that up either with the Awoken or the Banished to just have some fun with some good old-fashioned tanking. We just use, for example, Awoken's strategies to buff up units and keep them alive, and then you use the utility capabilities of the Lunar Coven, pump up your spell power, nuke things that are problematic, and just keep the ball rolling and just explode with too many stats. Very straightforward, very fun, and yeah, easy victories on the low difficulty run, it's in my opinion. Tank builds are really easy to rack up and fun to play. And number 10, the last thing that I wanted to introduce as an idea, a Mageblade centric build. We have a couple of units that come with Mageblade on themselves. We have equipment that brings up Mageblade, and this means we can directly transform our spell power into combat power. So combine that now either with the Pyreborn or the Stygian and get some blasting power out of that. So you blast away the enemy's problematic parts and then your super hard hitting creatures do the rest. Or you combine it with the Banished, Hellhorned, or the Awoken and play it on a more defensive side, just using Mageblade to increase the damage stats and using the defensive spells to stay alive and use the conduit that you got to blast away with low power spells like Starstruck, these things that you just need to get rid of. It is an interesting idea, not as powerful as the others, but it gives you a good feeling for how much enhancement you can get out of conduit and play around with. Like I said, I'm planning to do a more precise build overview with in the future for this faction specifically. Let me know in the comments section if you know any really stupidly broken combos that you feel like should be featured in that video. It'd be my pleasure to feature your idea. Leave me a like, leave me a subscribe if you feel like supporting. I'd be very, very much grateful for that. There's YouTube subscriptions and plenty of other things downstairs in the description box. Thanks to all the supporters of Icon Gaming, and thanks to you for watching this video up until the very end. Appreciate you taking that time, and I hope it was helpful. See you next time.